Josie Leavitt has been performing stand-up for longer than she can remember. Getting her start in New York City in 1990, she played at Stand Up New York, Caroline's, the Comic Strip, and many other clubs. And she has the distinction of winning the funniest wet cider contest in 1993. And that was a great year for West Siders in New York City. It really was. That was the year Friends started. They lived in the Upper West Side, right, Josie? Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, yeah, they were all there. Good, glad. In 1996, Josie and her then partner moved to Vermont to start an idyllic life in the country, only to open a bookstore and never go outside again. After running the store for 10 years, Josie missed stand-up and started performing and teaching stand-up. Since then, she has performed throughout the country and taught more than 400 aspiring comics. Josie has also created the longest-running series in Flynn Theater history with the wildly popular stand-up showcase, Stand Up, Sit Down, and Laugh. The one, the only, Josie Leavitt.
Thank you. All right, so my story's not funny. So we're just going to roll with it. Parts of it are funny. You're looking at me like, oh, shit, I should have had more drinks. I found out I had cancer in the parking lot of Lowe's. It's okay. I'm fine now. You can laugh. It's okay. Like, I'm good. I love the short hair. It took cancer for me to realize, like, oh, short hair looks really cute on me. And hot flashes, I don't normally perform in a t-shirt, but I'm hot flashing like a motherfucker. And I can't help it's the breast cancer medication. I'm not going to say it's menopause, because it probably is. But anyway, I'd had a mammogram. I'd skipped a couple years of mammograms, because, that happens every once in a while. And I was going to Lowe's. I was going to retile my bathroom. And I got all the stuff I needed, because I was waiting for my biopsy result. And they said, you're not going to hear anything before Monday. So it was Friday, and I thought, I'm going to go to Lowe's. I'm going to get stuff. I'm retile my bathroom over the weekend, because I'm a lesbian doesn't mean I actually know how to do that. Let's back that train up for a second. And I go to Lowe's. I'm like, I want to retile my bathroom. And the woman, Virginia's like, okay, you look clueless. I'm like, I know, right? So she gives me everything I need: the tile, the grout, the epoxy, the big sponge. You know that big sponge, she's nodding, that you can do anything with that big sponge. Anything. And then she says, girl, your shopping cart's not big enough. I'm like, oh, no. I need the cart that contractors get. The cart of people who look like they know what they're doing. Yes! Because I had backer board. It was amazing. They didn't tell me how to drive the cart, which is you pull it, you don't push it, because I took out like 18 displays. I'm like, sorry. It's like me in yoga class. Namaste, fuck. And my phone rang in the middle of Virginia loading me up with probably more shit than I needed. And I started, and she said, what's the matter? And we had been talking, and I said, I'm waiting to find out about a biopsy result. And she said, oh, man. And then she leaned into me, and I said, are you okay? And she said, I signed my divorce papers today. So we hugged in the middle of aisle 41 of Lowe's, just two women sort of alone but together, just like, I got you. And then I go to my car, I'm filling up my car, and it smells like possibility, because I got the backer board, I got everything I need. And then my phone rings, and it's the hospital. And it's Ellen from the breast care center who says, are you in a place you can talk? I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck. I'm at Lowe's, sure I can talk. And then she starts in immediately, right away. You have invasive ductal carcinoma. I'm like, whoa, I don't even have anything to write with. So I pull out the only thing I can find is my lease and a faded purple Sharpie for some reason. So I'm writing everything. It's like invasive ductal carcinoma, grade 2, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I don't even know what this means. I just thought they were going to tell me, yes, you have cancer. No, you don't have cancer. I wasn't expecting like the whole rundown in the parking lot of Lowe's. And she's given me so much information that I'm just writing everything down. I used to be an EMT. I like medicine. And my brain just like, poof. And finally, there was so much that she was giving me. I just circled the words invasive ductal carcinoma and made a little arrow as a note to myself and just wrote, you have this. I still have that piece of paper. So what happens, a couple cool things. There are some benefits to having cancer. One is you get this amazing clarity that's unlike anything you ever experienced. The minute she said you have cancer, I was like, whew. And suddenly everything that isn't important just drops away and you don't care because it doesn't matter. And I was fortunate enough that I always called my cancer JV cancer because I felt like it was never really going to get off the bench. You know, it was early, it was stage 1B, whatever. One doctor said to me, I'm like, fuck you, 2A, 1B. And she's like, okay, it matters. I said, yes, it matters. It's 2 centimeters one way or the other. We're going to go with the 1. Do you understand that? And she's like, I got it. So you get this clarity, and there's almost a power that comes with that because you're unfettered in a way you've never been before, which is kind of amazing. And then the other really cool thing that nobody tells you about when you have cancer, until you have cancer, is you get the cancer card. Has anyone had cancer? A couple people are nodding their heads. The cancer card is your guilt-free, get-out-of-jail-free card for anything you don't want to do. Anything. No one can say anything to you because you have cancer. I got diagnosed. I found out on a Friday I had cancer. Saturday I had some friends over. They were there for 45 minutes in my house, and I was just like, you are boring me to death. And I was like, I said, guys, I need to rest. They're like, oh my God, right, you have cancer. We should let you go. I'm like, I'm fine. I want to smoke a joint home alone without you boring people here. But they couldn't say anything because I have cancer. At my old job, we were supposed to take turns cleaning, and one of my coworkers said, are you ever going to clean the bathroom? I'm like, I have cancer. And you don't use it for bad all the time, but it helped with Comcast. That's all I'm going to say. You can play the cancer card in a lot of different ways. I got free haircuts for a year when I had hair, but you know. But what happens? And then you tell people you have cancer, and it's a really personal thing. And bizarrely, it's risky because you tell someone you have cancer, and 9 times out of 10, this is what happens. I just want to tell you, I got diagnosed, I have breast cancer. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My mom had breast cancer, she died. My dad's fighting colon cancer. And it turns into someone else needing to be comforted about the cancer they've experienced in their own lives, which tells me no one knows how to talk about cancer in this country. The fact that, you know, when I lost my hair, I had to get towed and AAA came, and this strapping young guy, you know, when you're bald and you're a woman in Vermont, it's not a fashion choice. I'm not in Bushwick. I'm just in Charlotte going, yeah, I have cancer. Might as well have a neon sign over my head. This is not a fashion choice. And this kid, he's jumping my car for me, and he said, no offense or anything. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to be offended. We all know I'm going to be offended. Shut up now and start my car. You have a chin. And he said, I wouldn't do chemo if I had cancer. I'm like, I don't care. And I said, why? He said, well, back in the day, no one did chemo and everybody lived. And I'm like, everyone lived to 32. That's how, and I said, how old are you? He's like, 27. I'm like, I can hear him going, 28, 29. I said, you rethinking that? He's like, yeah. So what happens, and then there's a lot of this. A lot of arm grabbing. A lot of no one ever does that in other situations. No one has ever touched my forearm as much as they have the last year and a half. They're like, how are you? How are you? Or it's more like, or more typically, they're like, you're handling this so well, which begins the start of people judging you on how you do cancer. You are judged on how you do cancer. People don't talk about it, but they're judging you. Oh, you're doing chemo? Really? For such a small cancer? Oh, you're having lumpectomy? Why not just take the whole boob off? And even my radiation oncologist looked at me and she's like, well, if you did that, you'd be like this. She's like, you'd just be lopsided. It would look weird. I'm like, is this my medical treatment? Judging by how I'm going to be lopsided? So you're judged on how you do cancer. And so then you throw in being bald on top of it, and people feel like they can just say anything to you. And I was at my local coffee shop, just minding my own business, bald-headed. It was a good week of not having chemo. I was, because chemo, like the first week you feel like shit, then you get better and better. So I was feeling good. I'm like feeling good enough to have a coffee, which, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. And this woman's like, turned to me, she, I would never do chemo. And I'm like, I haven't even had my coffee yet. And she looked at me and like she wanted me to ask, and I was like, I wasn't playing that game. And she's like, you know why I wouldn't do chemo? I'm like, I really don't fucking care. And she said, I would never do chemo because chemo is poison. Do you know chemo is poison? And this is what I wanted to say to her. Of course we know it's poison. You know how we know it's poison? Because they tell us you can't start chemo without getting your shit scared out of you by the doctors at your chemo learning class, where they tell you everything that can happen. If you get a fever of 100.4, that's an emergency. And I'm like, what if it's 100.3? They're like, oh, we don't know about that. And I was 100.3 every single week, or every single round of chemo. I was always like right on the edge. And then they said, and this is the part that really freaked me out. My girlfriend came with me, thank God. And they said, okay, so you can't exchange bodily fluids for 48 hours after your infusion. And I guess we had this look on our faces. And the nurse is like, oh, no, but you can cuddle. I'm like, no. It's not, we don't give a shit about the cuddling. It's that we realize that something inside of me is so toxic that if I kiss the woman I love, I'm going to make her sick. That's a sobering moment. Woman in the coffee shop. Of course I know it's poison. And I didn't choose to do chemo to have something to write about, although all my comic friends are like, fuck you for the material. I'm like, well, you're going to mine it, why not? So you find, so you go to chemo and you're in that blue pleather chair, that sad blue pleather chair with 10 other chairs, ass down, arm out, IV in. And they give you all the pre-chemo medication. And at first I thought, well, this is, and they gave you like 500 milligrams of Benadryl. Oh my God, I'm enjoying this. This is great. Now can we have heroin? And then they start the real chemo drip. And this is how we know it's poison, because it says right on the bag that's going into your body, biohazard. With that little biohazard symbol that you see in nuclear power plants or young adult fiction. And then it says underneath the biohazard, it actually says this, dispose of properly. And every time I went there, I thought, probably not in a human vein. And this is going inside me, and it's going in so slowly. It's drip, drip, drip. And it's taking forever just to fill the chamber of the IV. And it goes and it snakes through the IV tubing, and it finally hits your vein, where it transforms itself from a clear fluid to what always felt like a silver alloy to me, thick and heavy and gumming up my insides. And instantly I was cold, I was nauseated, I had a headache. And you want to talk about poison? Coffee shop women sit through this shit for an hour and a half and then let them hang the second bag. And they hang the second bag, and within a millisecond, my mouth turned to metal, where it would stay for 10 days, to the point that when I finally had an appetite and I salivated a little, even 12 days later, I would get a whoosh of metallic, in my mouth that reminded me that I am outgassing something. I know it's poison. I don't need you telling me it's poison. Stranger in a coffee shop. And people feel like they can just say these things. And the second round of chemo, I got really, really sick. But I didn't know I got a stomach bug on top of regular chemo, and I thought everyone's like, chemo's cumulative, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I mean, I really thought I was gonna die. I had the worst diarrhea of my life, like 25 times a day, violent diarrhea. And another cool thing about being a cancer patient, regular healthy people can take 4 Imodium. We can take 20. Didn't help, but hey, we can do it. And the only other really cool thing about that second round of chemo, and I was so sick, was it was the utter cancer card playing guilt-free switch from recycled toilet paper to 37-ply Charmin. Haven't looked back. Don't feel bad about it. I'm going to cancer card that for the rest of my life. And then I went to the drugstore because I needed everything. Because during chemo is the only time in your life you can go from diarrhea to constipation in 37 seconds. It happens that quickly, and you have no idea, what's going on. And I just forgot what I was talking about. Chemo brain. I went to the drugstore, and I was getting Imodium. I was getting Senecot. I was getting Preparation H. Don't get the cream, get the cooling gel. All I'm going to say. I got a hemorrhoid pillow. I got every antacid known to man. I got just the most embarrassing, pick the most embarrassing things you can buy at the drugstore. It's called the hardware store. And I'm checking out, and this guy's like, "What's happening at your house?" And I'm like, "Shut up, it works." Got my bag of stuff, my little hemorrhoid butt, and I had hemorrhoids so bad it's like my ass turned into a metronome. I mean, it was horrible. And then you're losing your hair in painful chunks. And people say things like, "Wow, you look really good without hair. Like, you look better than you did when you had hair." It's like when you lose weight and people are like, "Wow, you look really great." And you think, how fat was I? And people just feel like they can comment. So this woman, I just wanted to drop kick her. And she kept saying, like, "Why are you doing chemo?" You know why I did chemo? Because it gave me like an 85% chance of not having a recurrence. Who's not going to sign up for that? And the real reason I did chemo, if I'm honest with myself, was to outlive her. You know what? Thank you very much. Thank you.